Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's been a little while since we did one of these, so I thought it would be fun to do another 2024 Seahawks mock draft. Now, once again, before we get into the mock draft itself, I want to say me doing this does not in any way indicate, nor should it make anybody believe that I believe the Seahawks season is not going anywhere good. We still have a lot of games to play, and this team can reach some very high heights if they can just live up to their potential. I have no doubt of that. But it's still fun to look at draft stuff, so we're going to look at draft stuff a little bit in this video. And, of course, this mock draft will include the fact that we traded our second-round pick to the Giants. We keep our fifth-round pick. The fifth-round pick is next year, 2025. So, for whatever that's worth, we still have that, but we no longer have that second-round pick. So we can start to kind of get an idea of how that is going to affect us. So let's jump right in here. It ended up being kind of an interesting mock draft that I put together here. I took a lot of guys from the same schools, kind of over and over. And it was kind of interesting. If you're not fans of those schools, you may not be thrilled with what I have, but I'll tell you, I'm pretty thrilled with what I have. All right, so let's start with round one. We still have our first round pick. I'm taking left guard. Technically, he's playing tackle for Duke right now, but he would be a left guard here, Graham Barton. I do think this guy's going to be a late first-round pick when all is said and done. He's not having the dream year because Duke has had problems, but Graham Barton is an awesome left tackle prospect. I think he would immediately be a starter. I think he could immediately replace Damian Lewis, who I assume will not be back next year, and we would have ourselves our starting left guard right then and there, and the offensive line I don't think would miss much of a beat. In fact, I think they might get better just because Graham Barton is a better fit for this offense. So that's who I'm getting with my first round pick. I'm feeling really good about that one. I think he's a day one starter and a high level day one starter. All right, we skip round two and we go right to round three. I'm taking Tyleik Williams, a nose tackle out of Ohio State. He is my second favorite nose tackle in this draft. My favorite, I think, is going to go in the second, if not the first, Sweat. But Tyleik Williams has been really good as well. He's one-dimensional. He doesn't offer much as a pass rusher, but as a run stuffer, he's really good. I don't know how much longer we can do this Jarran Reed thing, and Jarran Reed's getting older anyway, by the way. So at nose tackle right now, you've got Cam Young, who seems decent enough in small doses, but I don't know if he's going to be much more than that. And then you've got Brian Monet whenever he gets back, which for all we know might be never. So I do think we need a nose tackle, and Tyleik Williams kind of fits the prototypical run-stuffing nose tackle who takes up a lot of space and frees up your linebackers. So he's my third-round pick here. Other third-round pick is another Duke player, and this is what I meant when I said earlier that I was taking some players from like the same schools. Riley Leonard, quarterback out of Duke University. I think Riley Leonard was on track to become a first-round pick. I really do. And then he got hurt, and then he tried to play while hurt, and then Duke started losing games, and then Duke wasn't ranked. Everything went off the rails. But I really like Riley Leonard. I like his arm. I like his mobility. I think Riley Leonard is the perfect kind of quarterback you take in the third round. You sit him for a little while, and then when the time is right, you spring him on the league, and he gives you a little bit of everything. He can make all the throws. He's got nice legs. He's got prototypical size. I really like Riley Leonard, and this situation, the year that he's having, opens the door for you to poach him way later than you should. Because again, I think Riley Leonard would have been a first-round pick if he had played the full season and played at a high level, which I believe he was going to do. I think that he brings a lot more to the table than a guy like a Daniel Jones who went top 10. And I know this is a much better class, but still, it's not that much better of a class to where a guy who's clearly better barely goes in the top 100 under normal circumstances. So, yeah, I'm taking Riley Leonard in the third, and I got my quarterback of the future, and I'm very excited about that. Okay, so now we move on to the fourth round here. We got to get tight ends in this draft. I'm taking Cade Stover from Ohio State. That continues to be my guy. It seems like every game he shows up, every game he's doing good stuff. He blocks, he catches, he makes big plays, he gets in the end zone. He's so good. And I understand there's nothing sexy about Cade Stover. He's like Will Dissly, but you need Will Dissly sometimes. So give me Cade Stover. in every mock draft that there is, and I'm feeling okay about the rest of it. I really am. That's how much I like this guy. That's how much I think we need somebody like this, because we're not going to be able to keep the band together in this offseason. There's just no way we have enough money to keep the tight ends that we have. So I will continue to pound the drum for Cade Stover. All right, 5th round pick now. We're taking a linebacker. I know I waited a little on the linebacker position, but that's because there's a guy down here that I really like. Danny Stutzman of Oklahoma. Not coming off his best game as of the upload of this video, but I think he's had a really good year, really fun year. He's by far the best part of that Oklahoma defense that has actually mostly been solid as a rock this year. Couple of holes against Kansas and Texas, but overall they've been, I think, better than expected. And Stutzman has had some monster games this year. And if you're talking about him learning for a year or two behind Bobby Wagner and possibly getting to come in that second year, maybe late in the first year, sign me up for that. All right, so that gets us to our last couple picks here. In the 6th round, I've got another tight end because I think we're going to need 2, and we're not going to have a lot of money, so we got to do it in the draft. I got Theo Johnson of Penn State. This is a guy who has popped on my radar recently. He's not a big name yet, but I'll tell you, I think the Combine could make this guy a little bit of a star. He's fast, he's big, he's got the tools, he's got it all. He just doesn't have big production. He's kind of like, I don't want to say he's as good as Darnell Washington, but there's a little Darnell Washington here in that you have a very special talent in Theo Johnson who just hasn't been able to produce on that level, partially because he plays for Penn State. He doesn't have a stud quarterback there. LR is just okay. But there's an opportunity to pick up somebody like a Theo Johnson and mold him and try to eventually get something really special out of that bundle of talent. So if you can replace Fant and Parkinson with Stover and Johnson, obviously you lose something, but you're at least giving yourself a chance to equalize a bit. And then in the 7th, I'm going Frank Gore Jr. once again for the exact same reason. We cannot let Frank Gore's kid go to another team and harass us for the next decade. It can't happen. So we got to make sure he's on this team. It's as simple as that. So he's going to continue to be my 7th round pick until I find something better. And it's going to be hard to find something better than Frank Gore's kid, because it's not just what he does for you, it's what he doesn't do for the other teams that he could have gone to. So that is my 2024 Mock Draft 2.0. I fixed the big hole in the interior offensive line and the one position that I think people are concerned about, because I think people are pretty into Oluwatimi and Bradford as the center and right guard of the future. I picked up nose tackle depth. Remember, we don't need a defensive end as much anymore because of the Leonard Williams trade, so that saves us having to pick one. I got a quarterback of the future. I got 2 tight ends. I got a project linebacker, and I got, well, Frank Gore, who, let's face it, not having to deal with Frank Gore's kid on the 49ers or something would be priceless. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think of this mock draft. We're going to probably do 1 or 2 more before this season ends, before we really get into draft season, but yeah, I like this one. I'll tell you, I like this one a lot. All right, catch y'all later.